Okay, now this is End Yours Church. This is Richard Hobbs. This is Wednesday, March 28th, I believe, 2018. Good morning. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 8:30. We're beginning a new program. This is, as you can see, Alcatel, Link Zone, Metro PCS. This is, we can't read it now, but hopefully you can see it. This is hotspot device features. 4G LTE enabled, capable of connecting up to 15 devices, including gaming consoles, tablets, laptops, and more. Easy setup and portable for fun on the go. What's inside? Alcatel, Link Zone, battery, SIM card, charger, and USB data cable. Quick start guide. So I'm imagining we have to put this in and charge it before we can use it. Enclosed device is an Alcatel Link Zone, distributed by Metro PCS. Monthly service required to use device, coverage and services, including 4LGTE, not available everywhere. Devices may be vulnerable to unauthorized attempts to access data and software stored on the device. Use of Metro PCS service acknowledges acceptance of our terms and conditions if service, including arbitration provision found at Metro PCS com/terms. Visit Metro PCS or Metro PCS store for information on specific terms and conditions of the device. I don't know how this is in focus or when or why, but that's what that says. And then it says down here on this label, if you open the label, nothing, but it talks again about, and I believe I have 7 days of use before I can return it, or after which I can't return it. In certain terms, a limited amount of use of it. Well, if it works fine, I don't expect to return it. This is an ALC, whatever the rest of that is, black TMUS kit, and that's an IMEI number, and that's a Social Security number, and there's a number there, and a number there, and a number there, and some words. I guess this was made on 10/28/2017 in China. So that's good. We're going to have to, we ordered once some SIM cards from China. We're going to have to order some more and get them in and put them on sale and see what we can get for them on the market. Okay, now we're beginning this program. This is, again, we'll say it. We hope that it's Wednesday morning, March 28th, 2018. This is Richard Hobbs, and this is endyourschurch@gmail.com. We're going to make a lot of programs, put them on YouTube, and later on we're going to take the programs and we're going to edit them. And this is copyrighted March 28th, 2018. No, all rights reserved. Don't copy this. Don't rebroadcast it or put it on any system except one that we authorize or that we ourselves have chosen to do. And that's me, Richard Hobbs, sort of in charge of what happens here. And we certainly authorize it to be on YouTube and to be looked at and shared by YouTube users and Facebook and Twitter and any social media that we put it on. You have permission to look at it and use it the way generally people do, but you don't have a right to use it if you're going to make a profit off of it, or you're going to gain personally or corporately or in any way without first getting our permission and letting us be aware of what you're doing and agree and approve to it. Other than that, this is my apartment right now. It has passed inspection for being inhabitable, and the inspectors found trouble with the toilet and with the fixtures, and the landlord did not pass. We've been giving a lot of different opinions by this Antoinette about what's allowed and what isn't and what's going on, and we think that she doesn't understand what she's doing, and maybe we're wrong. Maybe she does, and maybe she's telling us what it is, and we just realize it doesn't make sense. This commode is the water used to leak down from the ceiling there. There's the ceiling. For 5 years I lived here, and they came in and they fixed that ceiling, and then they came in and passed the inspection. A lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of doings. And then they turned around, and a week later or a month later, that would leak again, and the water would come down into the tub. You see the tub is full of things because we don't use the tub, because you wouldn't use the tub either if it was every day water was coming down from above. You know, there's bathrooms above this bathroom. You assume it's toilet water or whatever it is that's coming down, and you don't feel comfortable taking a shower in it or a bath. And that's why I smell a lot and still do smell. I'm not going to take a bath in that until I know that the ceiling isn't going to leak back down into it. Well, I'll do it sooner than that. And I have those big tubs in here because I have to wash clothes by hand, because I can't afford to go to the machines. And if I do, they were right nearby. Now they're across the street. So I will use them, but I have to be limited in my waste of my money. And for ages and ages, people washed clothes by hand. They didn't have machines. They didn't have detergent. They had only soap. And we'll get into the difference between soap and detergent someday. Well, we're going to right now. Soap and detergent both use electricity to clean clothes. That's what they do. That's the basic truth. They use magnetic electrical force is used to clean your clothes in water. And dirt sticks to things but through magnetism, electromagnetism. That's what causes dirt to stick to your body and to your this is this room that passed inspection, although it's not perfect. It needs to be repaired and fixed, and it will, and cleaned up and straightened out and get to a better passing of the inspection. And this is the closet. Now I'm going to put the lights on here, and I'm going to try to produce videos here and put them on YouTube this morning. And then there's the light in there, and a nice light normally comes through that window, I've noticed. Now I'm going to put this light on. I have to stand up to do that and lock the wheelchair. I'm still pretty much in the wheelchair. I really can't walk yet, but I can walk a few steps, and I've been able to walk on the crutch, on the using the cane from my apartment door to the front of the building. I guess that's about 100 feet. Maybe it's a little bit more. And this is this room. Now I have the 3 lights on. So you want to have good cameras, you got to have good lighting. God let me learn that through Jerry Gilbert. God bless him, that poor man. I hope he made it to heaven. Oh, there's some concern about that, but he was a special person, and I certainly learned a lot from him. And things I learned from interacting with him are going to help me and help you, the viewers and the persons who this helps. Now over there's some, I had to get that down and get the balloons out, because Sunday we intend to go to, Easter Sunday, we intend to go and be at the Easter parade and maybe make balloons. We put everything up there. We got to finish straightening that area up temporarily, put it like that, so there's a lot of bins up there. And then we got to redo all these bins, and get them down to nothing, go through them one by one, and condense the things into lesser bins, and organize it and categorize it. The biggest problem in this apartment has never been too much stuff, but not having the stuff well organized. And there's a bunch of books, reference books, mostly on that shelf, and there's a cabinet that's going to get better use after we get to the next stage here. And there's our huge dictionary, the real dictionary, and there's a Strong's Concordance and some Bibles. We'll be doing Bible studies again soon. In fact, we'll be doing one today within the next hour or so. We'll do a Bible reading and discussion. And here's more stuff, and this table needs to be straightened out. That's some food that I ate. I kept it from the nursing home when I was there, and it's meeting a need right now because I'm not quite on my feet, and things are just getting started here. But every day I'm eating some of that food. And this is, here's the rent bill, which is a problem and interesting. And it's from Emmaus Properties Incorporated, Post Office Box 289, Harrison, New York, to Richard Hobbs, 1 Carroll Avenue, Apartment 6, Yonkers, New York, 10705. So anyone who wants to know where I am can find me and come see me. And I hope people do. And I hope we get a lot of viewers and a lot of posting. And there's the date of this bill. It's going to be for the 4th, which is the 1st of April, April Fools. So we didn't get ready for that. That's a big day. We should have set up a joke to fool people on April Fools. But we'll work on that. I guess that's on a Sunday, but we'll have to look and see. This is the 28th, 29th, 30th. No, maybe it's on Friday. The 28th is Wednesday, 29th is Thursday, 30th is Friday, and maybe the 1st of March is 30 days, 31 days. I guess it's 31 days. We'll have to see. Why was the man tired on April 1st? Because he just finished a 31-day march, or is it a 30-day march? That's a joke. Riddle. We're going to produce a joke book, and people are going to help us to do that, and the person who helps us is going to get some money. Now but they'll work at it, and they'll make the money when the book succeeds. I'll share some of my money with them. There's February 1st, 2018 monthly bill. The way they set these bills up is kind of confusing, but I guess it's correct. Maybe I'm just not a good accountant. But there's the rent. The monthly rent is $1,171. And there's the 2/5/2018, Section 8, February. I guess they paid that in. And then January, February, March 1st, there's the rent. And there's the 8th. I guess Section 8 paid in that. And then there's the new bill for today. That's that. Plus, then they add that together. They say they have $1,581. So if Section 8 pays $966 off of that, then 9, 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's right, $615 is what I owe them. So 6 from 11 is 5. Yeah, and 6 from 7 is 1, 15. So I owe them $615. Now I'm going to find out what I can do about setting up an escrow account and putting that money in escrow. And I don't have that money right now. I don't have enough to pay my rent because I get $35 a month from Social Security, SSI at this point. Rent payments are due on the 1st of the month and late on the 2nd. Late fees will be applied to your account if rents are not paid by the 10th. The landlord is not responsible for picking up your payment. You are responsible for making sure it gets mailed to the management office on time. Mail your payments to Emmaus Properties Incorporated, Post Office Box 289, Harrison, New York, 10528. And that's the rent bill, the statement, and the rent statement and the bill. I'm going to get that to Antoinette today, or at least tell her I have one so she can come get it if she wants, and see if she'll help me with my rent for the last 2 months when I only had $35 a month, and it cost me $215. I've got to try today to get a hold of the food stamps and to get a hold of and to see whether I can get more food stamps because my income was lower for those days, or whether I'll end up having to return food stamps because I got them while I was in that home. It's really scary to do anything anymore where you're always worried you're going to lose money, you're going to be in charge, get charged, or have a problem because of the crazy way in which they run things. Now, this all has to get straightened out so I can make better use of it. And it really is true that I am not the neatest guy in the world. I can be pretty sloppy, mainly because I'm always having a lot to do, and I don't take the time to straighten things up as I go along. I create messes, and then usually once every so often I get together and I straighten out all the messes all at once. And I do it, and I've done it long term that way, but that's kind of foolish. It's better to straighten up as you go along. And now we're going to start to practice real conservation, real environmental concern. We're going to really reduce the trash we put out by recycling everything. Everything that's food and food related and that can be turned into dirt is going to be turned into soil, and we're going to make the soil and we're going to use it, and we're going to store it in a bin and see if we can grow things from it. And paper and all that sort of thing is going to be a part of it, because that's generally usually comes from nature. And things like plastics, we'll try to chop them up, put them in there. Truth is, we want to change the world and improve the world. And we heard about a place in Arizona or somewhere in the Midwest in the desert where they don't have any flies. We'll need to look into that and get that trivia again. And the reason they have no flies is they have no garbage. They don't put garbage out. They don't collect garbage. They, I guess the only thing that would supply flies with food in that place would be animal droppings and animal waste. If you have pets and they go to the bathroom outside, that would feed flies. And I guess if there's cows and cattle and things, that might. But there really are no flies, because all the only thing they collect is paper. Paper is collected as trash, and glass and things that are not food related. And everything else, and maybe even including paper, is all, every house in the community was a planned city, brand new town, and everything built there was built with a large garbage disposal in every house, and then everything is put in the garbage disposal except for glass and metal and wood. I mean, paper and wood, things like that. Maybe paper even goes into it, because you can dispose of paper in a disposal. And everything goes into the sewage system, and the sewage system is built with very much larger sewage pipes than are normally used, and everything goes into the sewage system, and it goes to some kind of a sewage treatment plant, and it's all taken care of. And we know about moringa. That's a plant. We'll talk more about it in the future, but the moringa plant is a weed. It grows like a weed. It feeds the poor. It can be used all around the world to give nutrition to the poor, and we're going to do that. We're going to employ it. We're going to make use of it. We're going to make people who live in the places where people are starving to death, we're going to have them paid to harvest this plant and use the plant, and the leaves are for food and tea and health and nutrition. It's one of the most, if not the most nutritious plant on the earth that God has given us and that nature has provided. And the end of it is that when you have the huge trees, it grows into huge trees. You can get lumber out of the trees. You can also get an oil from the tree wood, and that oil is used in industry, has industrial uses, and it can be eaten. The entire plant can be eaten. And when you can make these little hockey puck type pressed sawdust, turn it into sawdust and make these hockey pucks, having pressed the wood and extracted all the oils. And these real dense, minute particles are all in what looks like a hockey puck. Maybe they're a little larger. And then you can break that open, and you can toss this sawdust on the top of any lake or any body of water that's not running, and it will affluence the sewage. It will take any water that has sewage in it, and it will purify the water without using harsh chemicals or poisonous chemicals. And the way it works is really neat. We'll make a video on that. But really what it does is it just breaks into little tiny particles. And electromagnetism draws the sludge, anything that's in the water, feces or urine, I suppose also, I don't know. It draws it to itself, and as it does, it becomes heavier and heavier until it gets heavy enough that the particle with all the stuff drawn to it falls to the bottom of the lake. And you throw this out on the lake, and it purifies the lake. And maybe you do it 3 or 4 times until the water is relatively pure. And then we have the water filter that they no longer make, but we have a couple of them. The filter's made, but the housing unit isn't. And that filter purifies water 100% or 99.99%. It's much better than most professional water filters used in the United States, and we're going to manufacture one like it in time and produce it for the whole world, so that every place where people are having bad water, they can use this water filter, and they don't need a water filtration system. They don't need a lot of expense. Simply put any filthy water into this system, and it comes out drinkable and pure. And what's left over can be cleaned out of the system, and probably with moringa dust, and then used as a fertilizer, probably. So God has given us the opportunity now for a while to do something that's really never been done before. And how long we'll get to do it, we don't know, but we will get to do it. We're going to do it. It's going to happen unless Jesus comes back. And we think maybe Jesus will just hold back from coming back because of an attempt we're going to make to straighten our world out from God's point of view instead of from the devil's point of view. And maybe we just won't let the devil continue to have his way or her way, whatever the devil is, and maybe we'll do things God's way, which would be better. So this is the beginning of today. We're going to stop this now, and then we're going to start another one. We're going to put this on YouTube, and then we'll start another one. We'll get into Bible study today. We'll read a little bit of the Bible. Here is our Thompson Chain Reference Bible, and personal size, New King James Version, Thomas Nelson, number 3355. And we're going to have these available for sale for people that want them. And we're going to have them available free to give to anyone who wants one, who can't afford to pay for it. And the people who can afford to pay for it can pay what the cost, and then they can contribute whatever they want to give as contribution, and that's what we'll do. And I'm not in this for money. I'm poor today, and I hope to live to 138 years old. I really do. I hope to have success where I've had failure in my life, or seemingly failure. I hope to straighten things out. I hope either to run for president or be involved in the next 3 presidents in the United States being elected. And I hope that we put poor persons in, a black woman, and white, non-poor, non-rich people. I hope we create a political party that is all based on the idea that the poor people have equal right to the rich, and that maybe the rich haven't been able to successfully operate things and do things based on this rich person's model, and that instead we'll let poor people do it once for a while. See if we don't get some honest, sincere, effective improvements in the world. And maybe we won't. Maybe that'll be impossible to do, but it won't be impossible to try. And we have the provisions here, the ability. Now we're charging 3 phones. We have all these extra phones that we're going to figure out how to do something with. Some way or another we're going to do it. And what we intend to do is create a non-governmental version of the government that solves the problems for the people who participate, and the ones who don't participate will be outside, and they're looking in, and maybe they'll get motivated to participate. And we have all these phones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's I think 2 more in the other room, and one good. We have 3 phones that are working, 1, 2, 3, and then we have 1 phone there that's we have 2, 4, 6, 7 phones. I thought we had 8, so maybe we'll find one later on, and we're going to charge them all up, and we're going to use this device and get them all working on the Wi-Fi that's on this device. We have up to 15 devices. Then we're going to go down to we're going to go down to Cricket and to the other phone store and see if we can't come up with very inexpensive phone with a line service, and then take them to Metro PC before the end of the month and switch them over and get 4 phones for 4 of them, and get 2 phones for 1, and put all that service online. And then we're going to see if we can't end up getting 8 phones to you. We'll see if what we can afford and how we can do it, so we get a lot of good quality phones that we'll have. And then we're going to start hiring interns to work for us. We won't pay them cash. We will give them a phone, and eventually we'll give them phone service and transportation up to the point that we allow them to be able to come and help and do and get around and look for work of their own from outside sources. And if they help us, we don't have a lot of money because we don't get a lot of money, but without paying them money, but by giving them education and help them with information that makes their life worthwhile and meaningful, we're going to help them. And I know that this lady that's the landlord thinks that I'm some kind of a skunk. She wishes I would move. And I hope that Jesus and God, in his kindness, helps her to realize soon that she's made a mistake in her judgment of me, and that I'm not a bad person like she probably thinks I am, and that we're going to do good here. And if I am going to run for public office, or I'm going to do things that's probably going to cause the media to want to make problems for me over things in the past that I will have to say are untrue, and they'll have to insist are true because of their rotten system where the media does what it does and it doesn't do what's right, and that's what will happen. So now, we said we'd get into the Bible, we said we'd stop this, but we're going to stop this when it gets to 27:06, and we want to show you a verse in the Bible that has to do with our life. And that is Psalms 68, verse 4. And Psalm 68, verse 4 is, for me, the beginning of the Bible, because my life is discussed there and talked about. Psalms is the middle of the Bible, and it's before Proverbs. And I'm going to turn to the page 68, verse 4. Now, a good, interesting place in the Bible is Psalm 119, which is 2 things. It's like an A is for apple, B is for... It's the Hebrew language, 119. It really does give a good history of... it gives a very well teaching of the law of God and the ways of God for children to learn, for young people to learn. And it also has one section for each of the words of the Hebrew language. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there's the Hebrew character, and there's how you would pronounce it, the name of it. And it has one for each of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And eventually we'll go through that, and eventually we'll all learn more about that. We'll teach and we'll learn together. And that's what we'll do. I have a little bit of teaching, understanding of Hebrew, not much, but it's enough to do what we have to do. And we'll get a teacher in to help teach that. We're going to do something we hope is going to be considered new and different. And yet, it's what should have been happening for a long time, and it's what's going to happen. Now, before we lose our voice, we want to get to Psalm 68, verse 4. Then I'm going to stop and I'm going to drink some water. And we'll go look up our video about how not to get a cold and try to prevent ourselves from getting a cold, which is about to happen to me because I have a dry throat, probably from talking too much. I like to talk too much. And that is Psalm 68, and there's verse 4. Now, it's very hard for me to do this, to look through this phone at the words and read them. And this particular phone right now isn't working right. It's backwards. Everything's coming out. Black is coming out white, and white's coming out black, and we're going to stop it. But here's Psalm 68, verse 4. Sing to God, sing praises to his name. Extol him who rides on the clouds by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. And so it's not in this particular version, it's verse 5 we're looking for. A father of the fatherless, a defender of the widow, is God. in his holy habitation, God sets the solitary in families. He brings out those who are bound into prosperity, but the rebellious dwell in a dry land. And that's my verse. I'm a fatherless person. Anyone who's fatherless or an orphan, this is talking about you. And God is a father to the fatherless, a defender of widows, meaning a judge of widows. He provides for them. Is God in his holy habitation. Now, holy habitation of God is heaven. That's where God lives. And God sets the solitary in families. So if you're an orphan, God sets you in a family. And he brings out those who are bound into his prosperity, but the rebellious dwell in a dry land. So that's our scripture for the day, and we're going to go 1 minute over time here. But when we edit it, it'll come out just right. And there you have it again. Psalm 68, verse 4. I don't know if it's in focus, or if it can get into focus, or if it will get into focus, or what happens. I'm not real good at doing this, and doing it alone by yourself makes it pretty hard to do. But there's Psalm 68, verse 4 and 5. A father of the fatherless is a defender of the widows, is God in his holy habitation. So I was a fatherless child. I am a fatherless child. Now I'm also motherless. And God has been taking care of me in a marvelous way. Sometimes I don't even realize it. But how does he be a father? He provides for my needs. He gives me people to lead me and guide me and help me and direct me and set my path in the right straight way. And he provides all the things a father provides. And actually a father doesn't provide those things at all. A father is given the opportunity by God to enjoy this relationship where he is being served by God and Jesus, and in being served by God and Jesus and doing what he should be doing, he's being a vessel of those needs and things being provided to the children, to the child, the various children in the family, each individually, each separately, but also each all together, but also each as an individual. And the needs of a child to have a fatherly figure and a person to guide them and to have provision and to be able to succeed and to gain wealth, which God gives us the power to do. He gives us the power to become wealthy, to have increase, and to use the increase wisely and to benefit in this world, which is run by Satan, owned by Satan, given to Satan by Adam, when Adam defaulted from the wonderful relationship that God gave him, that created him to have, when he went to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and stopped eating from the tree of life. Now, the tree of life is Jesus, and Jesus is the way that human beings can have fellowship with God through Jesus. And the angels were created for us so that we could enjoy having that fellowship with God through Jesus. But 1/3 of the angels, led by Lucifer, which meant light bearer, they fell. Lucifer just saw how beautiful he was, how wonderful he was, which he apparently was very wonderful. God made him that way, for him to help us understand Jesus.